FOX34 Football Friday, presented by Cardinal Sports Center. It's 10 o'clock, and it's time for FOX34 Football Friday.
Brian Wood's crew at Shallowater looking good tonight on the Big 3-4. Well, the Mustangs were able to take down Levelland.
After falling short to Aledo in the playoffs last year, Chip Darden's bunch is hungry. How Lubbock Cooper is preparing for their start in 2 weeks.
And Post hosting Littlefield in their home opener. Why Michael Pittman's club this year might be even better than last year's team that advanced all the way to the state title game. And welcome to week 3 here on FOX34 Football Friday. I'm a Lil RJ Verby.
I'm K.A. Kurt Geiser. The Post Antelopes had their first home game since advancing to the state title game. Our John Sokoloff, I don't know what his nickname is, was there, and he is here now. John, what was it like out there tonight?
Well, first things first, Kurt, I'm not worthy of a good nickname, but those Antelope fans, let me tell you, they were riled up and ready to go. But when it comes to last year's state title appearance, the Antelopes, they're just not satisfied. They're absolutely loaded this season as quarterback Sladen Pittman, head coach Michael Pittman's son, has returned for his senior year. Let's go out to the highlights. The Bold Gold taking on Littlefield. First try for Post, Pittman giving it up to Nathan McDaniel, who shakes and bakes. Shout out Ricky Bobby, getting into the end zone for 6. That's a 50-yard touchdown right there. Made it look easy. Antelopes take the lead. So they'd recover an onside kick. So here comes Sladen again. This time, he finds McDaniel in the flat, and he goes into the end zone untouched. Almost ran into me there, guys, truthfully. But this time it's a 4-0 game after that one. Littlefield would actually pick off Sladen Pittman's pass. So here's the next play, and guess what? On the defensive slide, the quarterback making the safety on the play, getting revenge on defense, forcing it 16-0 Post after forcing a 3-and-out. Antelopes taking over again. This time Pittman faking the handoff, keeping it himself, getting in for the score. This run was from 60 yards out. Antelopes go up 23-0. He'd even kick the extra point. Is there anything this kid can't do? He's forcing safeties. He's kicking extra points. He's throwing touchdowns. Post is looking real good, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a nickname, Kirk Kaiser.
Yeah, I'm sure he does too, but we won't get into that now. Brian Wood's bunch at Shallowater has been on a roll so far with 2 wins, 2 big wins over Abernathy and Seminole.
And tonight, the number 9 ranked Mustangs hosting the Lobos from Levelland. Our Brady King was out there and joins us now. Brady, well, what was going on out there?
It was a good one, Rob. Back and forth the entire time, which everyone expected. So let's head out there to Todd Field for some highlights. Students packed the stands for the homecoming game, and here come the Mustangs. And they kept on going, honestly. First possession of the game, Caleb Cox takes it to the end zone. Shallowater was up 8-0 after the first quarter. Earlier in the second, handoff to running back Raleigh Pinkerton. Mustangs increase their lead to 16-0. Lobos head coach Andy Correll asking for more from his guys, and here they go on the next drive. Isaiah Salazar diving into the end zone. He had back-to-back touchdowns to put his team back in the game. Lobos down 16-14. But the Mustangs would get one last chance before half, and they go back to their bread and butter, handoff to Caleb Cox, and he drives it in. Mustangs led 24-14 at half, but this one went all the way to overtime. Shallowater eventually rode away with it, 52-46 to stay undefeated.
High-scoring game right there. Estacado up north facing Canyon, a packed house this afternoon, looking for its first win. It was a tough night, first series. Matadors 4th and long, a bad snap right there, recovered by the Eagles. That would be Chisholm Kohler for the touchdown. Eagles go for 2, and they would get it. Matadors trying to come right back. A nice completion right there for Estacado, rolling right along. But you know what? Just was not enough tonight. The Matadors fall to Canyon, the final in this one after that pick right there. It was 38-0, Kurt.
That's right, Estacado falling to 0-3. Undefeated Tahoka hosting unbeaten Roosevelt. Mr. Bulldog all smiles, as is this unofficial mascot. Jacob Torres on the keeper. He races to the corner. The Eagles open up with an 8-0 lead. Young Bulldogs wheeling and dealing at the concession stand. Shout out to the Tahoka Band Boosters. Shout out to the Eagles. They've only allowed 2 points going into the game. Their special team's a huge reason why. Short field position comes up when Doc Ock Octavio Rodriguez comes up with the ball right here. Great play by Doc Ock. On the ensuing drive, Eagles face a 4th and long. That's when Jonathan Rivero goes into full beast mode. He gives the Eagles a 14-0 lead. Could Roosevelt be on everyone's radar? They win it 46-0. Third straight week to not allow a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, rolling those R's again. Let's head to Jack Rabbit Field, shall we? Rawls battling Seagraves. First quarter, Rawls with the ball. Toby Rijos running hard. Picks up some yardage right there. That drive would stall, however. A defensive battle tonight. Early second, still no score. Jack Rabbit's finally jumping. Abraham Van Gundy doing work for the Rawls. The PAT was no good. 6-0 at that point, and they go on to win it the final 44-0.
OU commit Kobe McKenzie looking forward to year 3 at Lubbock Cooper. Later, how the Pirates' playoff experience is helping them prepare.
And the Matadors had a slow start the first 2 weeks. Coming up, high school football analyst Garrett Love joins us on the show to discuss the current state of the Matadors, who lost again tonight.
And Abernathy got its first win of the season last week. If Jess Hole and the gang were able to use that momentum against Sundown.
First and most comprehensive. This is Fox 34 Football Friday.
And welcome back to Football Friday. After splitting a pair of road games, the Antelopes from Abernathy ready for some home cooking, Rob.
Yeah, when Mama calls, you go home, Kurt. Yes, indeed. Abernathy losing to Shallow Water in week 1, only to bounce back and beat Slayton 21-13 the following week. Tonight, Abernathy in its home opener facing Sundown, the Roughnecks 2-0. The Lopes defense getting it done early. Matthew Day-and-da, something like that. I apologize. Swats big
Matthew,
boy Carson Holson's pass into the air and then brings him down. He's fired up about that one. That would set up this Jess Hole with the quarterback keeper. Look at him leap and prance around the Roughnecks.
Prancing, yeah.
He is graceful out there, Kurt Kaiser, prancing like a deer. A little later on, Hole again. He's going to dance and prance into the end zone. I wouldn't say that to his face. Shades of Dirty Dancing. Abernathy up 7-0. Did you like Dirty Dancing?
It was a good movie.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the clay scene was cool. But Sundown would respond. Carson Holson, the train has left the station. Chugga, chugga, choo, choo.
They're chugging
all the way into the station for the score. Antelopes would outrun the Roughnecks. Tough. 21-12. A lot of alliteration from a little sports guy.
There was. Let's head on out to Hale Center. The Owls were taking on the Memphis Cyclones. First quarter action here. This quarterback, Hunter Thompson, lets it fly. He finds Alric Rodriguez. He soars into the end zone. Hale Center would go for 2 and they would miss, but that little girl there, she didn't care. Later on, Owls would get the ball back on a fumble recovery. Thompson channels his inner Brett Favre, throwing across his body. He finds Rodriguez again for 6. Owls would go for 2. Who else? Thompson airs it out to Rodriguez, who takes it home. Oh, they're hooting and hollering in Hale Center. 36-2 over the Cyclones.
Crosbyton hosting Monday on a Friday. Chiefs with the ball, and here they come. Eric Marquez finds an opening, and he's off to the races. Near side, he's going to take the hit out of bounds. Oh yeah, running like Barry Sanders. Same drive, a few plays later, Marquez again. This time, he is good for 6 points. He would get the 2-pointer as well, 8-0. The Moguls would answer. Christopher Garcia lets it rip. Dun, 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 dun. Christian Hernandez, he's got it, and he's gone. Shades of, dare I say, Jakeem Grant.
Say it.
I'm going to say it. 2-point conversion was good. We were tied at 8-8. But the Chiefs, well, they would come right back down the field, protecting home turf. And guess who? It's Marquez. Walk the dog, give him a biscuit, broop, broop. 2-point conversion, Bueno, 16-8. Second quarter, more Crosbyton. This time it's Cook Martinez. You know what he's cooking up, Kurt Kaiser?
A score?
A score indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Crosbyton cruising. They win 52-22.
Yeah, a lot of cooking there. All right, let's head on out east to check out Lorenzo hosting Amherst. Middle of the first right now. Bulldogs quarterback fires a bullet into the end zone. Bulldogs would go up at that time. It was 14-0. Lorenzo would respond, buzzing on in to score. Wouldn't get much better after that. Amherst QB would let it fly, finding his dog. Here it comes right here. There it is. Number 4 for another score. His second of the game. 21-6 Bulldogs, and they would keep pounding it on. Another strike really barking up a storm. Going up 28-6. Lorenzo will lick at their wounds after this one. Amherst gets the big win, 52-6.
All right, Meta taking on Valley. Here we go. Here in the second, fans are still lining up outside, up 32-0. The Patriots putting up a show. Jackson Edwards finds a wide open. Gunnar Bowles gives the road team a 38-0 lead. Cheerleaders doing what they do. Adrian Valdez doing what he does. Shades of Jake the Snake Plumber. He finds a wide open Baylor Cruz. Red, white, and blue up 46-0. Tate McBree not ready to go home. Dun, 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 dun. He slings the pill to Malcolm Mendez. In squared keeps the Broncos' hopes alive. However, in Super Bowl 49, the musical, Cruz plays the role of Malcolm Butler as he comes up with the end zone pick. The Pats should enjoy the 80-minute bus ride back to Kitty-Quay. They win 46-0. Afterwards, we caught up with Coach Stanlin.
I didn't see many mess ups tonight, okay? We executed, we were pretty good offensively, we were pretty good defensively, okay? We have got a big challenge next week.
All righty, that challenge comes next week as Valley takes on the Jayton Jaybirds, coached by his brother. How about that?
Family
Kurt
feud
Kaiser.
going on there, yeah.
Yep. Well, our analyst Garrett Luff joins us now from the Double T 97.3 studio. Post looks like its foot is completely on the gas. What's your early impression, Mr. Luft, on the Antelopes, and do you think they're better than they were last year, my friend?
They ought to be. They got just about everybody back, and they've got all that experience from that long playoff run. They played 16 games a year ago, so take or leave spring football like everybody else probably wished they had because of the COVID outbreak. They basically played longer than anybody else in the state, so they got plenty of experience. So many weapons, so many guys. Tonight, Ashton Jefferson still leading rusher, but Nathan McDaniel puts on a show. You saw what Slayton Pittman did in the highlights there. Defensively, there's so many guys on that defense that were all-state caliber guys, some of them actually named all-state, that you don't hear their names often, like Stephen Huff and Michael Avery. So many guys that are doing things all over that defensive line that most 2A schools don't have those sorts of horses. So I think they most definitely are able to stay up with what they did a year ago if they can stay healthy, and that's always the bugaboo that could catch you if somebody was to go down unexpectedly.
Garrett, it's been a rough first few weeks for Estacado. They start off 0-3. What's the main issue for the Matadors as they're starting off this year? You know,
I don't know all the answers there, but I would guess that maybe more so than the talent that you lost a year ago, you're also dealing with the fact that so much of that talent was very, very strong in leadership. And I think you're missing that on both sides of the football right now. You've seen guys start at quarterback now, multiple guys play quarterback, and no one's been able to move the football. No points tonight up in Canyon. Notice those guys in Canyon scored 71 last week, so it's kind of a win if you only held them to 38 this week. But they got to get a win over Hereford next week just to get some confidence going and maybe turn the tide, because right now it's sliding the wrong direction against a very tough schedule.
Yeah, I think they scored 71 against Burke Burnett, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right, we'll chat with you a little later. As always, great job. Kurt?
All right, thanks, Garrett. Slayton and Brownfield, the first teams forced to cancel games due to COVID-19 in our area. How those schools are going on the offensive to stop the spread of outbreak in their athletic programs.
And 5 and 6A teams still a few weeks out from their first games. Coming up next, a closer look at the Lubbock Cooper Pirates.
Now, back to Fox 34 Football Friday.
And welcome back, everybody. Lubbock Cooper is still waiting for its season to officially begin.
Pirates finally got to put pads on this week. Our Brady King joins us now with how they're preparing.
Last season, Chip Darden's crew was one play short of making it to the state finals. I caught up with him to see how his team responded to that tough loss and this unusual preseason.
You know, the first week or two after, it's pretty heartbreaking. It stings you pretty good, but I think our kids took the main goals of the season from that, and they can look back now at how positive it was.
Darden says the biggest lesson his team learned since last season is to not take the game for granted.
They police themselves, they police other kids in the school and go, hey, get your mask up, we want to play football. So kids are resilient, they'll handle anything, and I think they've handled all this really well.
Darden says one of their more valuable assets is experience.
We've got a bunch of guys on defense, secondary linebackers that have played a lot of varsity football games, so we really like that.
Darden's offense will look different this year. They're still working on filling the shoes of former running back Isaiah Johnson. Johnson made his collegiate debut for North Texas last week, finding the end zone on his first carry.
He was one of the hardest practicers we've ever had around here, and so I think the kids see that and they feed off of that.
A lot of hype has surrounded junior linebacker and Oklahoma commit Kobe McKenzie. However, his coaches say he's as humble as they come.
I'm on a team full of great players also. They might not have the recognition or the offers that I have, but we're all good players, and in my head, we're all a five-star team. What I love most about Coach Darden is he doesn't make the spotlight really on me, you know, and that's what I love about it. I don't really like the spotlight. I want to be known as just another player on the field, you know what I'm saying?
McKenzie says the Sooners made a strong impression on him.
I love it up there. Like, I mean, just meeting Lincoln Riley and him being from Millshoe, and it's just a family.
Before looking too far ahead, McKenzie's main focus is bringing a state title back to Lubbock Cooper.
Keep your eyes on the prize. I want it.
The Pirates will host Hanks on September 25th. Brady King, Fox 34 Football Friday.
We're fired up. You won't see Slayton or Brownfield this week. They were forced to cancel their games due to outbreaks of COVID-19. In a statement, Brownfield Superintendent Chris Smith saying at least one varsity football player tested positive. Slayton ISD Superintendent Jim Andrews releasing a video earlier this week addressing the decision to cancel games along with all face-to-face classes for 2 weeks after multiple athletes and coaches tested positive for you-know-what, COVID-19.
We have enough students now and enough teachers that we know we've got to shut it down for their safety, for everyone's safety. I'm deeply sorry. I regret that we've had to do this, but I know that it's the best thing to keep our kids safe, to keep our teachers safe.
And the teams and their coaches have been quarantined. Slayton was set to take on New Deal, the Real Deal this week, with Brownfield scheduled to play Idalou.
Still ahead on Fox 34 Football Friday, we preview Tech's season opener against HBU.
Now, back to Fox 34 Football Friday.
And we're back on Fox 34 Football Friday. Tech football opens at home tomorrow night against Houston Baptist.
Finally here, Red Raiders doing quality work, I think, in the offseason, adding, well, several key positions, depth players. Here's the head man on why he's feeling pretty good heading in to this very unique season.
I certainly feel good about our upgraded talent level overall in terms of linebacker especially. I think we've helped the depth at the running back position through development and recruiting, and I think our depth at receiver is better. The focus around here has been to get in the Big 12 fight and go find a way to get to the month of November and be in meaningful games so that we can go win a Big 12 championship. That's the goal. It always has been and always will be here.
You know, he took a page out of Chris Beard's book, guys. Did you notice that? Coach Beard always talks about being in the fight, winning a Big 12 title, and Matt Wells is taking a page out of his book. I said added some key depth pieces. Colin Schooler, though, John, is not a depth piece, so to speak. I mean, he's a guy that's going to start.
Sure, no doubt. And it provides depth to that linebacker position because, you got Rico Jeffers, another experienced guy.
Right.
And this is where the Red Raiders kind of benefited from the Pac-12 postponing its season a little bit because Schooler obviously wanted to play right now. And the fact they got him so late, it doesn't matter because he was a stud there, Rob. And that's really just he could do whatever. He can drop back into coverage. He can do basically whatever Keith Patterson needs him to do. And that's what this defense is going to need, right? Because last year they were last in the Big 12 when it came to yards given up per game through the air. So they definitely need not even just depth, but also production in that area of the field, whether it's the secondary or linebackers going back into coverage.
Hey guys, normally this game you see the starters kind of take a break after a while, but now you've got Texas next week. One game to tune up. Do we see the starters longer because of that factor?
Kurt, you've got a bye week in between, though.
Okay.
So you have a bye week to get
but
ready.
It's the only scrimmage or the only game you have before then.
Right. Normally you have 3 games, and you usually have 2 games that are sort of tune-up games and then another quality opponent. I would say, depending on the position, okay, to answer your question, I would like to see Alan Bowman for at least a half and maybe into the third quarter, unless they're just absolutely destroying them at halftime. I want to see consistency from this offense, and I want to see the way Alan Bowman looks. So I don't know if that's a half or if it's 3 quarters.
There's no doubt, Kurt. It just depends on how these guys look. If they score on their first few drives and David Yost gets everything on the offensive end, that he wants, I don't see a reason for Alan Bowman, SaRodrick Thompson, Vasher, Izukama, Rigdon, all those guys to play that second half and risk it. You see what you need from your guys and then get them ready for Texas. Defensively, I think Rob's right too. Hopefully you see the same. The defense will have a little more, cut out for it in the sense of last week Houston Baptist gave up 57 points against UNT. The Tech offense should be fine at the half where it can probably be done playing, but defensively, that'll be a big test to see where this unit is at. We don't know what we're going to see from a guy like Eric Monroe as well.
Yeah, you would hope Tech would win this game comfortably. They're favored by 37, 38, 39 points, so you would hope the game would be out of reach at halftime, but you never know.
And you can't be too cautious, especially with a guy like Bowman. It might not be the worst thing in the world if he's back in the pocket and maybe just gets hit a little bit, gets to see what it's like to be back out there throwing live and all that good stuff. But, Kurt, if it's like a 10-0 game at the half, Bowman's going back out there.
Yeah, he'll stay.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yep. Hopefully it's not 10-0 at half.
That
would be alarming. All righty, coming up next, we'll take one last look at some scores around West Texas and get Garrett's pick for next week's game of the week.
First and most comprehensive. This is Fox 34 Football Friday.
All right, welcome back to Football Friday. Let's head to the scoreboard Post with their third straight win. The Bold Gold keeping the streak alive. A 58-6 win over Post. Shallow Water and Levelland battled all night long. The Mustangs ended up on top in overtime. They won that one 52-46.
And the Matadors with a rough start to the season so far, but it's early. They dropped their third consecutive game, 38-0 to Canyon. Abernathy comes up, clutch one more time, getting the win over previously unbeaten Sundown. That's a good win right there, 21-12.
It sure is. Roosevelt's defense full of Desert Swarm. A 46-0 win, the third straight occasion with no touchdowns allowed. And the Seagraves Eagles are running into a no-fly zone at Rawls. The Jackrabbits send them packing 44-0.
Hunter Thompson and the Owls go storm chasing as they send the Memphis Cyclones home, winning 36-2. Crosbyton gives Monday a case of the Mondays, Kurt, winning 52-22.
On a Friday. Of course, in six-man teams, they get 45. Amherst swats the Hornets of Lorenzo. 52-6 was the final there. And Meadow Valley ends at the half as the Pats win that one 46-0.
Do you say Meta or Meadow?
I say Meta, but in that case, I thought it was Meadow because it's another. I don't know.
You say tomato or tomato?
Both.
All right.
Yep, depending on my mood.
All right, let's bring Garrett Luft back in. We say Garrett Luft. Justin Wiley's bunch at Abernathy got their first win, Garrett. It's hard to replace Darrell and Bryson Daly, but how would you assess what the Antelopes have done so far?
Well, back-to-back wins over two really good teams in Slayton and Sundown, I think goes a long way. Next week it's Post, and that is a game that back when it was a district game was awesome at the end of every season. Now it's back to the days of being in separate divisions, but they've still played non-district every year. That's going to be a whole different kind of test for them next week at Jimmy Redmond Memorial Field and Post. But I think Wiley's settled in. I think Jess Hull's settled in at quarterback a little bit. Their defense has continued to be what it's been for years under Darrell Daly, and I think that could be their saving grace as their offense still kind of gets things clicking. But I do think the Lopes should be formidable throughout the year. They just might not be as strong as they've been the last few seasons.
Look ahead to next week then. Who's your pick now for game of the week next week?
Well, Abernathy at Post is the easy one to pick, but one I'm really keeping an eye on is Shallow Water at Childress, because they're going to go up north to face a traditional power in that district that also includes Canadian. And I really think that Brian Wood's team is going to get pushed and challenged a little bit more maybe than what they've seen to this point. And that long road trip also is something that is playoff-like. And I'm really interested to see what they do there. Another team that I think we're talking about that's going to make that long trip next week is Hale Center. No one's talking about Hale Center. They're in that district with Post, but the Owls have started off really, really hot, and they were pretty good a year ago, but no one talked about them because they were buried in such a tough district with Post and New Deal. Keep an eye on the Owls also.
Got about 15, 20 seconds left. Quick prediction for Tech tomorrow night.
I think you're going to see a 60-point win,
hopefully.
Okay. And I hope that you see a lot of extra quarterback work because Alan Bowman's pretty fragile, man. So I think you need to see some other guys get some work in there.
All right, thank you very much. See you next week.